Hey there everyone, Luke here, and hope you had a very happy Easter. I know I did. I got quite a few chocolates for the first time in a few years, where I've not had to pay for most of my chocolate buying Easter eggs, and I've still got two more to eat, which I'm probably going to be doing tomorrow. So yeah, I'm going to be enjoying them tomorrow, playing some games because it's still a bank holiday, which is kind of like a golden week in Japan, but over here in the UK. Which, by the way, speaking of which, I know in a couple of weeks we've got a break coming up, so not next week. I believe it's the week after. Pretty sure that's the case. So in 2 weeks' time there'll be a break, and then hopefully by then I'll be doing some videos for Control Chaos. Can't make any promises on that, but I'll definitely be doing a video on covering the backlog on Dr. Stone. So that's the week I'll be doing definitely a Dr. Stone review for chapter 4 of Dr. Stone, chapter 4, and possibly chapter 5. We'll see how I'm feeling. But yeah, right now we're just going to focus on Mission Yozakura family. Alright, so this will be chapter 173, titled Taiyo Yozakura. So pretty much, like I said, establishing that Taiyo is now a proper official member of the Yozakura family. So I don't know if the wiki's going to change his surname now from Taiyo Asano to Taiyo Yozakura, and I guess we should be calling him that as well, giving him the respect. But yeah, this is Taiyo's first battle after the time skip, so it's about time we finally see what he could do as the main character. He's had 5 years of training. Let's see the fruits of that labour. So it starts off pretty much from the end of the last chapter, where we have the mysterious villain who was a former gold rank spy, as will be reiterated here, who has all the tendrils behind him, and Tao's defending his kids, and he's saying "Oh, I'm sorry, kids, but let's go." I mean, just see Alpha just clinging to his father, being like, "Oh, Papa, thank you for coming to say for us," as the guy goes on to say, "Oh, this is Taiyo Yozakura. He's the husband of the 10th generation's head, and there's been little to no data on the Yozakura family for the last few years," which, quite interesting that's not happened. You would figure that the Yozakura, being a proper well-known spy family, would have okay, yeah, there's this data coming out and it's being leaked, or someone's finding out about it. But again, I guess Ass has been kind of keeping that a secret from everyone, because he wants to be the first one to actually harvest them and discover the fruits of their labour of training. But anyway, so this guy has no idea what Taiyo is capable of, so it's but in his case, I just need to be wary of his weapon, Yue, to have an 8% chance of victory. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be the case, considering that you've just said there's no data for the past few years. There's going to be something happening there. You can't just be focusing on this one aspect of the character that he's constantly used throughout his career as a spy. Yeah, it is something that you've got to be wary of, but it's not the main thing that you must be worried about. As we see Taiyo go, we see just this massive double-page spread of just Taiyo launching charging up Yue, launching it at the guy as a dart, and it just hits him right where the heart would be, except it's on his right. But yeah, if he had hit him right here, this guy would be dead. If Taiyo had hit him right there in the heart, this guy would be dead. And this actually shocks him, as I was not expecting him to throw this sword as a dagger. And Tao's like, "Oh, you must be the former gold rank spy Hydra." So we finally find out what this guy's name is. Well, I say finally, it's only been 2 chapters, but yeah, we get the guy's identity, Hydra. Now I'm not going to be making a Captain America joke about Captain America being a Hydra soldier, or a something that you would associate with saying. Same time, I'm not gonna do what people expect me to do with Hydra. His name is Hydra, so you would think that his ability would be water-based. Well, I guess he has the Dr. Octopus style tendril, so I guess that counts for something. But yeah, so his name is Hydra, and he says, and Taiyo goes on to say, "Oh, you used the professors you stole from a Shura group operating in the shadows." Now, Let me actually check. Is the Ashura group, is that a group that we've actually met before? So I'm going to quickly just check, just look this up, this Ashura group. Because I don't, Ashura group mission Yozakura. Because, yeah, I don't actually remember this group. I mean, oh yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. It's Shura's group. So it's the group that Shura is associated with. He's the CEO of the Ashura Group, a military industry complex. Okay, so yeah, we have heard of this group before. So yeah, just lots of things that you gotta keep aware of. So yeah, this guy stole this information that from the Ashura group while operating in the shadows, and he eventually left the spy world to become a bounty hunter. And like once he found out about the wanted poster of Taiyo, it's like, right, I'm going after the Yozakura family. But yeah, he didn't anticipate Taiyo being as strong as he is, as he tries to attack him with the tendrils. But Taiyo's just like, it's not going to work, as he's obviously got his blooming activated and his hardening. It's just deflecting everything, including his head. Like somebody actually pointed this out, like Tail's hair is hardened now. Tail can harden up his hair, and yeah, the fact that that's what the training has been like. His whole body is hardened up to the point where he could just be like, yeah, I'm going to walk. It's not going to work. Not gonna work, and Ty goes on to say, I hear you prefer operating alone. Good. That means I don't need to hunt anyone from behind you. So like, yeah, since you're on your own, it means I can go basically all out against you. And this is where the guy's like, oh, I've heard of Harden, I've heard of the. I've heard of the rumors about it, but 74% of his battle ability should be dependent on you. Yeah, Taiyo probably has been using UE for a while to kind of broaden his skills of how to use it as a better weapon, but also he's probably trying his hardening into UE itself. So it's his hardening and UE that they've got to be worrying about at this moment in time. As he goes on to say, how does he expect to win without it? And this is where Towers just gives the most badass line in the entire chapter of just like, if you had any friends in the business, tell them this from me: stay away from my children. As you see, probably his blooming hardening up his punch right here, and and Hydra is just like, okay, this is bad. I underestimated the effects of 5 years time. Now this whole man's body is weapon. So basically, Tail's whole body has been hardened up and trained up to the point that he doesn't even need to rely on Yui all that much. Like he cannot rely solely on his blooming, and probably use Yui as like a last ditch effort. As you see him just punch this guy into the ground, one punch man style. Although it might be more present to say that he punched him like Nano style, because this is exactly kind of thing that Nano did in the first chapter to Kiricho, just punched Kiricho into the ground. Only this time Tao's doing it like, you hurt my kids, just boom right into the ground, and that is the end of Hydra. So pretty much Taiyo comes in, just completely decimates this guy that took on two Yozakura family members. Granted, they were kids, but they were still Yozakura family members. They were still worthy of being fought by this guy. And the fact that Tails came in and was just like, yeah, I'm going to punch him out. One punch. That was all that would take. Well, he did pin him down, but still, it was one attack that literally took this guy out. So yeah, if this is what Tails training has done for him, who knows what the training has done for the other Yozakura family siblings. So once Hydra has been taken care of, Taiyo is assessing the situation and thinking to herself that, oh, it's been half an hour. Somebody posted an extra legal wanted poster of them all. He's finally made his move, hoping to harvest others, obviously referencing Asa. Now, this has led to a lot of debate in the fandom, because Asa clearly stated a few chapters ago that he wasn't going to rely on anyone else to do his dirty work. He was going to get his hands dirty and be basically like Thanos, like, fine, everyone's failed all this time to get what I want. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it myself. So for him to say that only after once they're all bloomed or harvest ready for plucking in his words, he's going to be like, right, you bounty hunters go and deal with them. It's like, what? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. So there's two possibilities here. Either Asa, either this is Asa, and he's using underlings, which again, like I said, doesn't really make much sense if you really think about it from Asa's attitude and language. Now, I know we get into later in the chapter where Kiricho, yes, Kiricho is finally going to make his reappearance in this chapter, but it's going to be more mentioned, and he's only going to appear right at the very end. So yeah, just spoilers right there. But anyway, anyone who's watching this review has obviously read the chapter. So yeah, so Kiricho does say that even though he couldn't trace it, he assumes that it comes back to Asa as well. But again, it just doesn't make any sense for it to be Asa. Like, I feel like they're jumping to conclusions there, which, granted, that does make sense. It's been 5 years, and Asa said he was coming for them in 5 years, so naturally they would assume it was Asa. I feel like that's not something you can fault them on. But at the same time, we as the audience are keened into, like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense for Asa. Now, the only possibility as well is that it's a second group. Like, there's been the theory of the Zodiacs for a while. Now, this could be this actual group making their move, and this has nothing to do with Asa, because Kiricho couldn't trace this back to Asa, couldn't trace this at all, but he assumed it was coming from Asa. Like, but if he couldn't trace it back to the original source, who's to say that it's not Asa? And like I said, the Zodiac theory has been a theory for quite some time now, that it feels natural that this would be the point that it would be introduced, because as I said in the Discord server, it would make sense for other groups to come after the Yozakura family. Like, they're well known in the spy world. They've been training for a few years. There's no day on them, so naturally people will be like, oh, I'm curious about how strong that they actually are at this point. Like, what's different about them? So yeah, like, I am going to lean on that theory that it's a second group, not associated with Asa. Like, if it's not the Zodiacs, then it's something completely different. Although maybe it might be Asa that's making his move, and maybe this is all just tests. But again, that doesn't really make any sense for it to be Asa. But that's my theory about what is actually going on here, about who sent the poster. If it's not Asa, then it has to be a second group, and more than likely it's a second group, because like I said, this just doesn't fit well with Asa's character. But anyway, after Taiyo goes over that analysis, we see Alpha and Hirofumi just clinging to his head right now, and he just gives, after the big badass serious moment, he's just like, oh yeah, I'm a dad, I have to deal with my kids right now. And Alpha's like, oh, I'm sorry, this is my fault for running away. Wait, let me, No, it's Hirofumi saying, I'm sorry, this is my fault for running away, and everyone's just apologising. No, this wouldn't have happened if I hadn't said what I said this afternoon. And Taz, no, it's not this isn't your fault, you two. I'm just glad you're safe right now. Like I said, Kiricho is just sitting in the background right here, but it seems like he's just observing, like he's just sitting up observing. It's like probably thinking, like, do I need to get involved? Nah, I don't need to get involved. Taiyo's got this situation handled, which this actually is quite refreshing to see from Kiricho, because a lot of people think, like, what is Kiricho's personality going to be? Like, I was one who was thinking, like, oh, what's his personality going to be now that he's gotten older and matured? I'd put that in quotations because it's Kiricho. You're asking a bit too much there. But yeah, he sees the situation, and Taiyo can actually sense that Kiricho's probably watching me right now, but yeah, we don't need to, this is not the time for us to meet right now. We need to get back to the house. But like I said, Kiricho here is like not even getting involved, and I would have thought, like, as soon as he found out that Taiyo and Mutsumi had kids, that he would have been like, right, I'm going to talk to Taiyo about what has happened right now. But I feel like that's probably why he had that Mutsumi training over those past 5 years, that he was probably like, okay, yeah, I know that they're probably going to have kids, and yeah, saying that, this is probably Kiricho's what was going through Kiricho's mind. That, yeah, I know they're probably going to, no, I definitely know they're going to have kids, so I'm going to have to do training to, like, bite my tongue when that happens. And it must have actually worked, because he's not getting involved at this point in time. And like I said, I cannot wait for the meeting between Hirofumi and Kiricho. That is going to be insane. And Taiyo's just like, oh, come on, let's go home. And this is where Alpha is just getting worried, like, oh my god, I've just realised something. Mama's at home we're not allowed out at night. She's gonna be livid, and they're just like, yeah, I'm scared too. But Tayo's just like, oh no, 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 she won't be mad. She's just really worried about you too. I bet she'll be relieved you're both okay, and cry. But of course, news to me is just like, oh. She's holding a knife, by the way. Welcome home, everyone. And this is where they're just like, yeah, maybe we should just go out of this room while she's like this. But she's like, oh, I was just cutting the chocolate for a hot cocoa or do a tasty bath for you. So just get in there. Don't forget to brush your teeth after you've drank your cocoa too. Now, okay. Great advice to me, but don't do it right after you've drank your cocoa. Like, wait a bit. Speaking for someone here who's made that mistake of brushing his teeth after drinking hot cocoa. Yeah, don't do that, people. Wait a bit before actually brushing your teeth. But still, great advice. But yeah, they're just bombarded by the fact that she's acting normally after being like, yeah, welcome home, everyone. And this is where they realise, oh no, she's still angry, but she's gone past the moment of being angry and gone back to being normal. So she's like, how dare you go out? But welcome home, everyone. I've made you hot cocoa. So it's kind of like that, just in rapid succession. And this is where Hiyofumi is just pointing the finger at her, something like, it was his fault. He did it. And I was like, why are you blaming me? Why are you throwing me under the bus? It's just like a typical sibling relationship where you're both in a bit of trouble and just like, he did it. What? That's kind of like the situation that I've had over the years with my siblings as well. But yeah, Mutsumi reassures them like, oh, I'd never be mad at you, not after you two went through something that scary. I couldn't help but think about how lonely you'd been. I thought I knew how you feel. See, when I was your age, I went through a lot of scary things too. Yeah, not a blooming surprise. Like, considering they've not told their kids anything about their family, it's going to be kind of like a minefield of just like exposition, just going to make their tiny brains explode. I think like, even Alpha Smite is going to be like, I need to have a lie down after hearing all of this, Mum. And Mutsumi goes on to say that she'd gotten so used to it that it kind of didn't feel scary for her anymore after going through all those scary situations again and again and again. She kind of got used to the fact that that there were scary situations that became less scary for her. But at the same time, she still feels scared for what could have happened to her kids. So yeah. Very forgiving parents, but of course, Pie Jams was just like, and I agreed with him because I would have been in the same situation. Like if I went out at night and didn't tell my parents, even to this day, they'd be like, "Where the hell have you been? Like, don't you have that phone? Why have you been using it?" Like they would be like that. Not probably. Particularly my mother, she would be absolutely worrying her pants off if I went out and did not call her. She'd be like, "Where's Luke? Where's Luke? He's not picking up. He's not picking up." She'd be having a panic attack if I didn't call her and be like, "I'm okay. I'm coming home right now." So yeah, even when you get to be like in your 30s, your mother is still always worried about you. Like, are you home safe? Have you been safe? You haven't been robbed? You haven't been like? And they're like, "No, Mum, I'm fine. I'm home safe. You can relax right now." And she's like, "Why haven't you called me?" Like, Mum. I'm fine. So yeah, kind of like in this situation right here, and yeah. So they're all just like, what if we all sleep together? What if we all sleep together? Like, oh, read us Momotaro, please. And she's like, yeah, that can be your bedtime story. Now, I don't know much about. Well, I barely know anything about the legend of. I mean, I've heard of Momotaro, but I don't really know like the whole story behind it. So if there's any like books on it that anyone could recommend, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. Like, and this is not even the first Shonen Jump series that referenced Momotaro. Like Dr. Stone referenced it as well. And I'm pretty and yeah, Dawn Brothers, the Super Sentai Dawn Brothers was supposedly based on the legend of Momotaro. Like whether or not that is true, I have no idea. But yeah, we see Hiyofumi and Alpha sleeping together, and yeah, and very funny panel here where you just have Hiyofumi's hand just punching Alpha as a sleeper, and Alpha's just like, oh, why do I have to deal with this? But I feel like the worst nightmare here is once they've read once Musume's reiterate the story of Momotaro, we just see like the entire bedsheet just covered in mathematical formulas. So you can imagine what Hirofumi will be like when she wakes up. Just like, I had a nightmare about maths. Oh no, I'm still asleep, and she's probably slapping herself. Oh no, I'm not asleep. This is my worst nightmare. Like, you can imagine that that's something Hirofumi would be like. But yeah, we cut to Taiyo and Mutsumi after they've put the kids to bed, and they're just like, oh, if you let it go, if you let it get to you about what has happened that badly, Taiyo, you won't last long in the family. Like, seriously. He's been through so much shit. I think he deserved to have a little bit of worry every now and again, Mutsumi. But she goes on and says, we have to reflect and then move on. And Tao's just like, oh, thanks, Mutsumi, but it's still hitting me pretty hard. Just the point of something happened to them. It's supposed to be my duty to keep them safe. And Mutsumi's just reiterating like, oh, it's been 4 years since they were born and you've done a pretty good job so far. Knowing our capable assistants are coming home to help soon, I can understand why you get a little lax. So yeah, they are aware that Koricho and the others are going to be coming home soon. So maybe this is leading into with the next arc, because they're going to be going to a school, possibly Koricho's old school from when he was a kid, not the one that he went with Kai when they grew up and when Kai first became a spy. I feel like it will be the elementary school he went to, which would make sense considering Alpha is pretty much dressed like a mini Koricho at this point. So yeah, the message they've got from Koricho is as follows: Dear Miss Mutsumi, time has passed and cool autumn breeze has begun to blow. I am pleased to inform you my long training has completed. I am ready to return home. We spent much time apart, and for good reason, but the gentle rays of autumn sunlight have only made the memories of our time shine brighter in my heads. I look forward to the day we see you again, Koricho. And after showing Taiyo this message, she goes on to say, good job getting us this far, Taiyo. From here on out, we'll all work together. And this is where they both come to the realization, like, oh, Koricho was probably watching over us. And yeah, Taiyo's just like, oh, even though I didn't see him directly, I felt eyes boring into the back of my skull the whole time. They were like, know what will happen if they get hurt. So basically, Koricho at this point is probably being like, okay, I'm gonna get past my sister obsession for Mutsumi, but now it's gonna be like, oh, Taiyo, you want to protect them? That's fine by me, but if anything bad happens to them, you're going to suffer far, far worse than any villain could possibly give you. And that's probably going through Taiyo's mind again and again and again. Like, I don't want to go through advanced Koricho 5-year time skip torture. And yeah, Mutsumi's just like, it's a relief to know he's still as creepy as always. Yeah, not in the same way, but I feel like at this point it's like, yeah, I best protect my family because I've got like my big brother-in-law, like as a shadow of PTSD on my case right now. But Taiyo's just like completely used to it. It's just, oh, this is just Koricho. But at the same time, when he's on battlefield, it's like, yeah, best get them home right now. Before we and then we cut over to Koricho actually in the principal's room, basically probably right after the poster leaked, and you just see the principal and his assistant just being like, oh my god, it's one of the guys in the poster, one of these like Yozakura siblings. What's he doing here? As we have Taiyo and Mutsumi going on and saying, isn't he going to drop by here soon? No, yeah, Mutsumi saying like, no, he's going to head straight over there and inform the director who leaked our info to the bounty hunters on and when to forget everything. He also said that he couldn't find out who published the wanted poster, but the fact alone it's answer enough. He has made his move. It's time to tell. It's time we told the children everything. So whether or not this is referring to Asa or Koricho making their move, again, it doesn't seem to be like this is Asa's doing. So maybe it's someone who published the poster who knows Asa and is trying to help the Yozakuras by trying to forget everything. Like, just something here that doesn't add up. And that is something that is going to have to be addressed in the next few chapters, where we finally do get reintroduced to the Yozakura siblings. We have Taiyo and Mutsumi continuing and finishing their conversation with Mutsumi bringing out a booklet which says Private Spy School Taiyo Academy Applications Guidelines. So this is probably what's going to lead us into a school arc, like a school training or building up arc for Alpha and Hiyofumi as they go on to say, are you ready to leave? Yeah, more parts we can finally tell them now, both about the wanted poster and what our family is preparing to do. So, okay, so this has to be what they said there. He has made this move. It's time we told the children of it. So this has to be Koricho's move. Like, he's probably been in contact with them and been like, hey, when the children are old enough, we need to tell them what is going on and they need to be training at this school. That's probably what Koricho set up here. So yeah, this is probably what he said here of just like, he's made this move, it's time we told children, probably has nothing to do with us. It's probably all to do with Koricho. Yeah, but we cut over to the next day where Alpha is waking up and he's just going over the past day's events of just like, I forgot to ask them about the wanted poster. I'm dead beat from yesterday, but it doesn't matter anymore. Yesterday was a hard lesson in reality. I learned that there's no way we'll ever have a normal life. So nice that he actually discovered that at a really young age, but at the same time, no, you can still have a normal life. You just have to get out of the family, Alpha. But I digress. He seems to have made this decision of just like, yeah, I'm not gonna have a normal life. I'm the son of an outcast, so I might as well just embrace my heritage. As we see him go over to his parents and say, I shouldn't go outside all that much anymore anyway. Maybe I'll ask Hiyofumi to teach me some self-defense. No, you are gonna probably get some self-defense over someone far worse. Yes, we all know who we're talking about. Like, yeah, that's right. No, I'm just kidding. He's probably going to get some self-defense lessons of Futaba, which is going to be hilarious because it's probably going to be exactly how Taiyo first had his lessons with Futaba, and just gonna go all over the place. I cannot wait. Like I said, I cannot wait for all the siblings to meet their nieces and nephews and see the little interactions they're going to be with them. And this is where he says, you're up awake. Good morning, Alpha. This is what Taiyo says. And Alpha's just like, what's going on? Don't you have a mission today? And Taiyo's just like, oh nope. I thought we'd take a family trip. And Alpha's just like a bit confused, like, what family trip after what happened yesterday? Are you sure about that? And they're just like, and Taiyo and Mutsumi are just like, yeah, we'll go and wake Hiyofumi up, but this is where we want to take you to somewhere special. It's a school, the Taiyo Academy. I think it's the perfect place for you and your sister. Do you want to go and take a tour there? And Alpha obviously knows about this academy because it says it's that Taiyo Academy. As we see Koricho, this is obviously Koricho with his back to us now. Why they're not showing his face? Maybe he's got some battle scars, or he's had his face changed in some way. But we see him with a suitcase, and it's just like, the school brings back memories, and that's where the chapter ends. So. Yeah, like I said, it was basically getting Taiyo's abilities of what he could do after the time skip, which is something that we all expected. Now, like I said, this is probably going to lead into a school arc where they're going to have to train up Hiyofumi and Alpha, because now that they are proper members of the Yozakura family, they need to be trained up, because I feel like they'll probably come to the realization that Asa will see them as beings that need to be Harvest as well, so they'll probably need to train them up, although that wouldn't make any sense. Why would they train them up just to be Harvest? But yeah, they're going to have to do a lot of explaining to these kids, because they have to know basically dick about their families. So yeah, be interesting tonight to have them say like, okay, sit down, Alpha and Hifumi, like, here's your Uncle Koricho, here's your Uncle Shinzo, here's your Uncle Keigo, here's your Uncle Nanano, and they're just gonna be like bamboozled, like, why is Uncle Keigo naked? Why is Uncle Nanano got a bucket on his head? Oh, and this is your aunt here. This is your aunt Fruitaba, and Fruitaba is just gonna use her tornado kinetic energy to just blow something up. Like, yeah, can we go home, please? We don't want to deal with these aunts and uncles of ours. Like, I can see Alpha definitely going down that road, but he'll probably be like, oh, I want to know everything as well. Oh, you have Steel Spider, Uncle Koricho. I have Steel Spider in my yo-yo. Like, and Koricho will be like, yeah, Steel Spider is really good, especially when you want to protect your siblings, like how I used to do when I was your age. And I can just see Futaba being like, don't give her any ideas. And he'll be like, oh, too late, I already want to protect my brother as much as possible. And you can obviously see like people being like, yeah, she is definitely taking after Koricho. But I digress. I'm just so looking forward to when we do actually get these interactions, whether or not they're all going to happen at the same time or individually. But I feel like the next chapter is just going to be one long introduction into this academy, what it's all about, why Alpha and Hifumi are being sent there, and maybe some of the siblings, not all of them, but maybe some of them are actually teachers at the academy. That'll be interesting to see. Oh my god, if they are teachers at the academy, like if Futaba's a teacher at the academy or if Shinzo's a teacher at the academy, that'll be some crazy interactions depending on if we get introduced to some of the students there who are possibly going to be classmates of Alpha and Hifumi. That'll be some crazy interactions because they'll probably be jealous that they'll probably have favoritism because they're related to the teachers. I don't know, but we'll just have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys. Also, yeah, by the way, I got a haircut. Pretty good. Pretty good. Nice to have a haircut since we've had the time skip. But anyway, see you later.